January 26, 1972, Vesna Vulovic was a 22-year-old flight attendant for a Yugoslav airline. She wasn't supposed to be on that flight. Her airline mixed up her name with another attendant also named Vesna and put her on the wrong shift. She boarded Jet Flight 367 in Copenhagen without knowing. The plane took off at 3:15 in the afternoon. 46 minutes later, a bomb in the luggage compartment exploded over Czechoslovakia. The aircraft broke apart at 33,000 feet, over 6 miles up. All 27 other passengers and crew died. Vesna fell with a section of the fuselage. A food cart had pinned her inside it when the plane broke apart, so she wasn't thrown into open air like the others. The fuselage section came down on a snow-covered hillside near the village of Srbska Kamenice. The snow and trees slowed the impact. A local man named Bruno Hanke, a former medic, came to investigate and found her still alive inside the wreckage, screaming. She had a fractured skull, broken legs, 3 crushed vertebrae, and a shattered pelvis. She was in a coma for 10 days. When she woke up, she had no memory of the flight at all. She walked again 10 months later. In 1985, she received a Guinness World Record for the highest fall survived without a parachute. She died in 2016 at age 66 in her apartment in Belgrade. Christmas Eve 1971, Julianne Kopke was 17, flying with her mother on Lanza Flight 508 from Lima to Pucallacapa, Peru. Her father was a zoologist who ran a research station deep in the Amazon, and Julianne had spent part of her childhood there. About an hour into the flight, the plane hit a severe storm at 21,000 feet, was struck by lightning, and broke apart in midair. Julianne was ejected from the aircraft still strapped to her seat and fell roughly 10,000 feet into the Amazon rainforest. She blacked out during the fall and woke up the next morning on the jungle floor. The seat had landed in trees and the canopy broke the fall enough to keep her alive. She had a broken collarbone, a gash on her leg, a concussion, and one eye swollen shut. She was the only survivor of the 92 people on board. Her mother had also survived the fall, but died in the jungle from her injuries before anyone found her. Julianne spent the first day on the ground unable to move. On the second day, she remembered advice her father had given her as a child. Follow water downstream and it will lead you to people. She found a stream and started walking, with no shoes, no food, and no tools. By day 9, the open wound on her arm had become infested with maggots. She found an abandoned hut with a can of gasoline nearby, poured it into the wound, and counted 35 maggots coming out. She kept walking. On the 11th day, she found a camp used by local loggers, rested there, and the next day, 3 men arrived. They treated her wounds and transported her by boat to a nearby town where she was airlifted to hospital. After recovering, she helped authorities locate the crash site. She went on to become a biologist and still works in the Amazon today. April 26, 2003. Aaron Ralston was a 27-year-old climber in Blue John Canyon, Utah. He went in alone and told no one where he was going. At 2:41 in the afternoon, while descending a narrow section of the canyon, an 800-pound boulder shifted and pinned his right arm against the wall. He spent the next 2 days trying to lift or chip away the rock. Nothing worked. He had 12 ounces of water when he got trapped. By day 3, it was gone, and he started drinking his own urine. He had no food. He was 20 miles from the nearest road, and no search team knew where to look. By day 5, his arm was dead below where the boulder held it. No blood circulation for that long destroys tissue. On day 6, he made a decision. He used the boulder itself to snap the bones in his forearm, then cut through the remaining flesh and skin with a 2-inch blade on a cheap multi-tool. The process took about an hour. He then applied a tourniquet with equipment from his pack, rappelled 65 feet down the canyon wall, and hiked 5 miles through desert heat until a Dutch family found him on a trail and called for help. He had lost 25% of his blood volume and 40 pounds of body weight over 6 days. He lost his right hand and forearm. He survived. He later went back to climbing and completed all of Colorado's peaks over 14,000 feet solo in winter. August 6, 1945. Tsutomu Yamaguchi was a 29-year-old engineer working for Mitsubishi Heavy Industries on a business trip in Hiroshima. That morning was his last day in the city. On his way to the train station, he realized he had forgotten a travel stamp at the office and went back for it. While he was returning, the first atomic bomb in history detonated less than 2 miles away. 80,000 people died instantly. Yamaguchi survived with ruptured eardrums, severe burns on his face and arms, and temporary blindness. He made his way to a shelter, found 2 colleagues alive, and the next morning got on a train to Nagasaki, his home city, where his wife and infant son were. 3 days later, on August 9th, he went to work. His boss asked for a report on what had happened in Hiroshima. While Yamaguchi was giving it, the second atomic bomb detonated over Nagasaki, again less than 2 miles from where he was. The office building collapsed around him. His bandages were blown off, and he received a second dose of radiation. He got out of the rubble and found his wife and son sheltering in a tunnel. He had insisted they use it after what he saw in Hiroshima. They were alive. At least 40,000 people in Nagasaki died that day. Yamaguchi returned to work, raised 3 children, and said nothing publicly about what he had experienced for over 50 years. In the early 2000s, he wrote a memoir and began speaking about it. In 2006, he addressed the United Nations on nuclear disarmament. In 2009, the Japanese government officially recognized him as the only person confirmed to have survived both bombings. He died on January 4, 2010, at 93 from stomach cancer. These 4 people survived a plane explosion at 33,000 feet. None of them had any particular advantage when it happened. If you like this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We will see you in the next one.